morning, people. It's your girl, Mina. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what it is. Big up to everyone locked in. Match day, match day, match day. I went to Kings Meadow, watched Man United women versus Chelsea. Man United women lost, in case you lot were wondering. Got home in time for Man United versus Ipswich. Watched a draw. And I don't know why everyone's being... Like, the reactions I'm seeing is a bit over the top. I feel like a lot of it is over the top. Big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe as well if you've just come through. I want to hear what everyone thought about the game, in particular how Manchester United set up under Ruben Amorim for the first ever time. Is there any performances or particular moments in the game that stood out to you? Was there any particular players or particular moments that you felt like, okay, this looks like Ruben Amorim's fingerprints on this team? I'm not gonna lie, I spoke about it in my 5v5, which I just uploaded now, but one thing that I know for sure is that Ruben Amorim has a big job waiting for him. Like, it's not that I don't think he can do the job, but it's more so the fact that I think that the players have a lot of traits and behavior that needs to be coached out of them, whether it's their inability to make the right decision. I think decision making is probably one of the biggest things that I noticed today, and I think we knew that as well under Erik ten Hag, but in particular today I think it was a bit more on show, particular players and their decision making, but also I think the starting lineup that Man United started with, I don't think that's going to be a starting lineup under Ruben Amorim for the future. I like the fact that Ruben Amorim actually came out and justified it before the game, saying that, you know, he had to go with the players that he's had the most time with during the week. And that's totally understandable. But I don't think that Casemiro and Eriksen partnership in the midfield will be a midfield that we will see often. I don't think we're going to see that often. But big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button if you just come through. And we're going to get into it. We are going to get into it. By the way, guys, yeah, before we actually start, Manchester City absolutely humiliated by Spurs yesterday. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Genuinely, I could not believe it. Pep Guardiola, he should have just went out on a high. I don't know why he signed a 2-year deal. Maybe it's to show his loyalty to Manchester City, especially with the charges and all of that stuff. But oh my God, complete humiliation from Spurs yesterday. Stay humble, innit? Yeah, stay humble. You make Haaland eat his words, man. Make Haaland eat his words. But anyway, let's get into it. And shout out to Pythagoras in Boots. If you guys, if you don't know Pythagoras in Boots, let me know. One of my favorite, such a lovely brother, and one of my favorite channels on YouTube who puts together these kind of tactical outlooks of the game after Manchester United performances, and it kind of helps us visualize exactly how Man United came out onto the pitch today. And this is the biggest telling point. Like, I don't know if you lot are the same as me, but I said it on Friday. I said, if Man United come out under Ruben Amorim with a back three, then I will automatically have a lot of respect for Amorim, because he is going to persist with what he wants to try and do from the first match day. And that's what they did. Now, I'm not going to lie, the choice of players, I understand it. I might not agree with it, but I understand it. He's going with what he felt was best based on, you know, the 1 week of training sessions that he had and the players that he had the most training sessions with. But I think it's safe to say, guys, Amad Diallo should not be at right wing back. I understood the logic. Like, when I saw this the team sheet and I saw Amad at right wing back, I said, okay, it's for two reasons. It's because Bruno is going to play on the right of the 2-10s, where he's going to play a lot more centrally. So Amad is going to be holding the width on the far right side. And I said equally with saying that him and Mazraoui on the ball, both very technical, both very good on the ball, and they are also very good at coming into them half spaces in the central midfield part, in the maybe attacking midfield part. So I kind of understood that logic. But in the second half, when I saw most of Amad Diallo's touches coming in Man United's half, that's when I realized that you put your best players further. Like, Amad Diallo, for me, is one of Manchester United's best forwards. I don't think there's a forward that can start ahead of him on the right-hand side of the 2-10s. Now, I understood why he chose to go with Mazraoui at right-sided centre-back, because for me, I also think after watching today, Mazraoui probably offers a lot more because he's so good on the ball on the right side of a centre-back three in comparison to as a wing-back if he's being, you know, forced to hold the width, if you want to say that. So I also understand that logic. Now, Diogo Dalot, for me, he just was... I was not impressed with him today. I was not impressed with Diogo Dalot today. I want to give players the benefit of the doubt and give them kind of time under Ruben Amorim, but the lights are bright on Diogo Dalot after today. On the ball, I think he's very questionable. In defense now, because he's playing with, and this is no criticism to Johnny Evans, but I don't think Johnny Evans can play in a back three, especially not on the left side of a centre back partnership. I think he has to, if he's going to play in a back three, he has to be the middle guy, because Amari Hutchinson had him on toast throughout the entire game. There was not anything Johnny Evans could do that Amari Hutchinson didn't have an answer for. And I feel like Diogo Dalot, as a result, had to defend quite a lot more. And they had a lot of freedom. I don't know if you lot realize, but a lot of the chances, especially in the first half, that they were creating was coming from this kind of Hutchinson. It was coming from this Hutchinson, Burns kind of Morsey area. I mean, Delap was just doing things that you want a number 9 to do, which is just disrupt your backline, be physical. You know, he's good on the ball. And he's got 6 goals this season. I don't think people are talking a lot about the lap. Big up to Red Scare Claire with the super chat. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Says it was disappointing to see the intensity fade quickly under a new manager. Again, is it fitness or mentality? That's a good question, because AMORIM did answer some questions after the game. And he said we have to be better, so much better, not even better. He said we have to be so much better physically. We need some time to work these things out. And you know what I also appreciate is the fact that he actually came out and said, this is not a good result. Like, you know, like sometimes I feel like some managers might be delusional and they might just come out with the PR aspect and just say what sounds right. But he said straight up, this is not a good result, and it's a tough league with high intensity. We started very well, but we should have had more of the ball, but we are learning. He also went on to say it's really hard for the Man United players. They were thinking what to do, and it was not fluid, which is normal after just 2 training sessions, but they are trying hard and they have so much space to improve. It's the first game, guys. It's the first game. I don't know why people are panicking. Big up to King in the Indies, says Ahmad has to be the in the front three, only player who consistently links up well in the final third. I think having Ahmad doing a defensive shift today was actually, I didn't like that. I didn't like the defensive part. Now, of course, I get it. You defend with 11, you attack with 11. But this is how Ipswich were kind of darting forward quite a lot. Davis, for a great left back. What a talent that they have over there. And Diallo was playing in that little space in front of the right-sided centre-back, but not in the wing-back role defensively. I'm talking about the defensive actions. Now, look at Diallo's average position defensively, yeah, in comparison to Diogo Dalot. Like, look at the comparison of that. This, by the way, is from specific passages of play when Ipswich had the ball on the left-hand side with Davis. So look at that. Look at the work that these 3 have to do. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning these 3, i.e. Evans, Casemiro, Ericsson, because they are the 3 oldest players in the team. They are probably, I would say, the least agile, the least mobile, maybe the slower players. And Hutchinson is a very good technical player. Delap is a very good technical player, as well as quite physical. So, and you got Morsey and, you know, this number 12 guy, I don't want to butcher his name. They had so much space in the midfield, like so much space in the midfield. And I'm just looking at Dallot's average space. So now Evans in particular, like this particular passage of play, I remember it. Evans had to decide about, do I go to Hutchinson? Do I go out to Burns? Or do I close the gap between myself and Delit? And I want to see if I got the screenshot on my laptop. Let me see if I can actually bring it up on here, because this is actually how they scored. Hutchinson scored in a similar way, which at the end of the day, that goal took a bit of a heavy. It's a very unfortunate deflection for my boy Mazraoui, but that position, that starting position, or that decision making, I would say, from the centre backs to kind of sit off him is a bit meh. Here's the goal that Hutchinson scored, guys, similar to the screenshot that I was just sharing with you guys. And you just see Dalot here is holding the whip. And this is, for me, and I get it, this is the things that AMORIM is going to have to weave out of the team. But this is poor. This is a poor setup. This is a poor setup. You look at Garnacho just standing there. Rashford is standing there. Bruno's standing over here on the left-hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in a line, in a defensive line. That is, and he still manages to get the shot off. And the reason why I noticed that he managed to get the shot off is because all the centre backs sat off him. They all sat off him. And I don't know if you don't remember, I can't play the clip, obviously, copyright purposes and that. But Hutchinson gets the ball back to goal, spins off of Casemiro, takes a touch out. Evans, for me, should come out. Evans, for me, should come out at that moment, but he doesn't. And he gets the shot off. And like I said, it's a deflection off Mazraoui. Have you seen what AMORIM said about Dalot? No, I haven't. Big up to Rondo, says there are a lot of quick decision making under pressure. Our players got to step up. You know, he actually mentioned that. Ruben Amorim actually mentioned that during one of the questions that he was answering, where he was basically saying a lot of the time players are getting the ball and they're basically thinking, where am I meant to be? Now, these are things for me is like through coaching, it will improve, but also from a player's own initiative. Like, for example, today I watched Mazraoui playing as a right-sided centre-back. I am someone who has been saying that I want Mazraoui to play as a wing-back. But now that I've seen him play as a right-sided centre-back, and because he's so good on the ball, very technical, he can get the ball forward, he's very composed in possession, you know, the press doesn't bother him, panic football doesn't bother him, he can drive the ball into the midfield if necessary, he can even actually transition into the midfield in build-up. I don't mind that because he's someone that is taking his own initiative to kind of make decisions. The other players need to get with it. They need to get with that and make their own decisions. And it has to be the right decisions, because I'm going to come and talk about Garnacho, some of the decisions that he made that kind of stood out to me as poor decisions. Even Rasmus Højlund, for me, not the best of decisions that he made. Ruben Amorim on Diogo Dalot. Dalot used to pass the ball to centre-backs and go inside and play as a midfielder. Now he has to stick to this position. He doesn't want him inverted. Maybe that explains kind of the width here that I was showing from him. That kind of makes a little bit more sense. You look at here, yeah. Look at this, guys. This particular screenshot, and like I said, big up to Pythagoras in Boots, one of my favorite tactical, I would say, maestros in the world of content. This is Ipswich's 210s, right? And I don't know if you noticed, and I mentioned this as well in my 5 in 5, so make sure you watch it after the stream. I mentioned how one thing I noticed was the back three were playing tight to Ipswich's 3. So Evans was, playing tight into Hutchinson, De Ligt into Delap, etc. Mazraoui as well, tight into his play as well, which means he can, when these players kind of play in tight, and this particularly kind of shows the amount of space the 210s had. That is the biggest thing for me. In the first half, guys, I'm not gonna lie, second half was a bit of snooze fest. I was falling asleep on my sofa, guys. I was literally about to fall asleep. But the 210s in particular, for me, one thing that they kind of had the ability to do, and maybe because A, they're good on the ball, and B, I think on the left-hand side, it was more on show than maybe on the right-hand side, was just the amount of space they were able to utilize. They had so much space to utilize and create chances. Literally, a lot of the chances that came for Ipswich in the first half was coming from here. Now, of course, we still have Lenny Yoro to return. We still got, Lisandro Martinez. I didn't even know he was out injured. So that's kind of news to me. Luke Shaw came in and I felt like it was definitely a bit better from, Johnny Evans, but he wasn't playing as tight to Hutchinson as Johnny Evans was as well. But that's kind of things that I noticed the most. That's the biggest kind of standout things that I noticed. Now, before should we actually talk about, let's start with the players. Before we talk about Ruben Amorim, what did everybody make of Marcus Rashford playing in the 9? Let me know. I want to know what you lot thought of Marcus Rashford in the 9 in particular. Now, like I said, Højlund, Xerxes, I genuinely feel like Ruben Amorim's explanation before the game it's an interesting one, because he's saying, listen, the players that I had the most with, the most time with, a couple of training sessions, all right, that's the predominantly the players that he ended up picking. Now, for me, as much as I want Rashford to take off, I want him to take off, and he did, because he got a goal in 90 seconds, guys. He got a goal in 90 seconds, which is a good centre-forward goal, poach it past the goalkeeper. It's a great delivery in from Ahmad. He made quite a few runs in the first half that I felt like nobody kind of saw. And once that first half was over and those kind of channels weren't being utilized by the people in possession, i.e. Garnacho's not finding him, Bruno, he just stopped running. He just stopped. 58th minute, what was it? 60th minute, he came off. And Højlund wasn't, Højlund didn't have the greatest of performances. I'm not going to lie. But I also watched Højlund today and I thought, well, bro, you need to start making better decisions. I watched Højlund today and I thought, you need to make better decisions because you are a number 9. You have the number 9 on your back, yeah? You are a striker, okay? Why are you then winning a ground duel against your centre-back? You're cutting into your right foot and you finesse a pass. I ain't never seen someone finesse a pass like that in my life. But it's like he was holding the R2 button. He finessed a pass to no one. No one. I don't even know who did that ball even end up going to. I don't even think it ended up going to anyone. And for me, you're a 9. Take the shot. Your favoured left foot, take the shot. But he didn't do that. And like I said, this is the stuff that Ruben Amorim's going to have to work on with these players because this is things that he needs to obviously weave out of them. He needs to, coach them. I understand that. But I saw this from Højlund today that I thought, okay, weird. Then the next thing he did was even as questionable because, okay, run down the channels on the far sides, on the left, on the right, whatever. He ran down on the left-hand side, cuts back onto his right foot, puts a cross in, yeah? And no one is there to get on the end of the cross. And the only thing I can think is that you are the guy that's meant to be in the box. So if you're the one that's crossing it in, of course, there's no one going to be in the box. Joshua Zirkzee, we all know, has no pace to he doesn't have recovery pace. So by the time he got to the box, the ball was already played in. The ball was already played in because he's not a fast guy. And that was one thing that I noticed as well for Rasmus Højlund. And the last thing that I noticed as well was, again, passing out into situations that maybe I think I want him to take the shot. And like I said, this is, coming on as a sub, you don't want to disrupt the team already in possession. So maybe he's just trying to find the pass to kind of keep the ball ticking. I get that. I understand that. But maybe this is one thing I'm hoping Amorim noticed because United struggle with goals. You need your strikers to put the ball in the back of the net. And for me, outside of Rashford's goal today, I don't think he impacted anything. Like I saw I saw an article on The Athletic just after the game with Marcus Rashford's heat map. I think it was like his heat map and his touch map. And you just see how daunting of a job he kind of has to do. Now, his average starting position, guys. Let's look at this here, and shout out to the Athletic because they always kind of put in some good visuals if you ever want to see some great visuals after football games. Look at his kind of average starting spot. His in comparison to Delap, who is playing as a 9. Yeah. Look at the average spots of the average positions of their wing backs in comparison to United's. Now I get it. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, guys, I don't want to be too reactionary because this is the first game. It's going to take some time. But if we're being totally honest, outside of the goal, Marcus Rashford didn't really influence the game in any kind of way. And I've seen a lot of people saying this is the last kind of chance for Marcus Rashford to prove himself for this team. Now, if Man United go off in the summer and decide to buy a striker, guys, I will not be mad. I won't be mad. If they decide to buy a striker, like a proven striker that can get you 20, 25, 30 goals a season, I wouldn't be mad. Our players have really poor decision-making, which can rarely be coached to significant improvement unless a player is really young. Anana, great saves with mediocre distribution. I don't think his distribution was mediocre. I think that's a bit harsh. Garnacho, good runs with very poor decision-making. Ericsson, very under par display. Casemiro was leggy. But as I said, makeshift team. Amorim can't coach that out of Højlund. That's how he plays. You know what? Quite a few people are actually agreeing with you as well. Quite a few people, like, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. The team that I genuinely feel like the team that Ruben Amorim has inherited. Let me just bring it up on here. The team that Ruben Amorim, I think, has inherited from Erik ten Hag. Yeah. One thing I can say that it lacks physicality. It lacks so many attributes that I feel like you need to compete with in football in the Premier League. Like these, a lot, like for example, the midfield lacks so much quality in terms of, yes, Casemiro is a good player, but there are things that he lacks which I think is on show a lot. I feel like it's on show a lot. Same with Christian Eriksen. And the reason why I'm not heavy on the criticism with Christian Eriksen is because we all know he's leaving this summer. We all know he's going to leave. Ugarte for me today, I don't know what it was, because I get it. He came on as a sub. He looked like he was missing a step. I can't wait for Kobbie Mainoo to return. I cannot wait for Kobbie Mainoo to return. But one thing I will say is that from a technical level, from an intensity level, from a physicality perspective, Manchester United are lacking it so much, and it's on show. It's really on show, and that's why I said, for me, I don't know why people, I don't know how people expected immediately, Ruben Amorim to come out and kind of batter Ipswich. One thing I did say with the game today in particular is that if Ruben Amorim comes out and plays in his 3-4-3, I automatically understand that he's a serious manager that wants to implement his way in the team. But equally with saying that, he has to make do with, unfortunately, the pieces that he has right now. So if he can't get a tune out of, a player, if a particular player can't impact their decision making, I don't think it's heavy on his criticism. I wouldn't be heavy on him with the criticism. I would be more so heavy on the players. And I feel like with certain players, after a certain stage in your career, a certain age in your career, I do think it's difficult to unlearn certain behaviors. I genuinely think that. That's why academy players coming through Man United right now into the first team, I think Ruben Amorim will be able to work with them a lot better than, say, a more seniored and seasoned professional in the first team. And that's just my opinion. Excuses, FC. You lot are too reactionary, man. I don't think it was physicality, though. Garnacho was in good positions, but he don't have the IQ to make the right decisions. The second half, you lot were good. Let's talk about Garnacho. Because I counted 3 counterattacks. There was probably more. I just probably stopped paying attention. But I counted 3 counterattacks that Manchester United had, led by Garnacho. I think one of them was actually from a corner that Onana came out and claimed, and he played a ball out to Garnacho immediately. And all 3 counterattacks, Garnacho attempted to get the contact. All 3 counterattacks, guys. As in, one of them, Marcus Rashford was making a great run. All of those moments, he picks the opportunity to get a free kick, to get a foul or something. And guess what? The worst thing is he didn't get the foul. And I don't even think they were fouls. I don't think he was fouls. I feel like when you are going out to get the foul, you're trying to get the contact, force the contact. When the contact happens, even if it's minimal and it's very evident that you can continue running and you continue going, but you choose to go down instead, the ref's just going to play on. The ref is just going to play on. And that happened each time. And that's why, for me, I said the decision-making of players in the team, Amorim has a task at hand with it. He really has a task at hand on it. And I hope that with a player like Garnacho, he's still relatively young in comparison to, the Rashfords and the Brunos, etc. So I'm hoping he can maybe coach it out of him. I'm hoping. There's no guarantee, though. That is the worst thing, is that there's really no guarantee that can kind of happen. Let me see what you lot. Yeah, you lot are agreeing with me. He is on Neymar settings. Don't ever. I understand what you're saying when Neymar is looking for the contact, but if he was half of the player that Neymar was, I wouldn't be mad about him doing this stuff. I would not be mad about him doing this stuff. And yeah, and I think that was the biggest kind of thing that stuck out to me. Let me just have a look at Garnacho's stats, because he actually played, obviously, 86 minutes, near enough to 90 minutes he played. He had 2 shots on goal, 1 on target, 1 off target, 1 big chance missed. He had 5 touches in the opponent's box, 0% successful dribbles. Dispossessed 3 times. Damn. Okay, this is quite damning, guys. This is quite damning. In terms of duels, duels come in different ways. He was dribbled past twice, won 3 duels and lost 8 duels. Damn. By the way, he won 3 out of 10 ground duels. which is why I say, like, for me, if you're losing ground duels, especially from a physicality perspective, yeah, why are you now trying to get the contact so you can get a free kick every single time? Maybe you are trying to do that because of the physicality that you lack. But today I watched the performance, and I'm not gonna lie, I think Garnacho's performance in particular just kind of, it just annoyed me more that Ahmad was playing at wing back. Like, again, like I said, I understood the logic of playing Ahmad at wing back. I totally understood it. But it still kind of frustrated me a little bit, because how are you playing as a 10, as 2 10s, and you got 6 touches in the opponent's box, sorry, in 86 minutes? How is that okay? That is so bad. Zaxi sending the ball into the North. It's hilarious. That was jokes. But Zaxi is kind of another one for me, because he's a player that I don't know if you lot seen about the report suggesting that he wants to leave, he wants to go back to Italy. I'm watching Xerxes and I'm thinking, today in particular, with a team that I feel like United struggled in the second half with the outlet passes, in particular from the central area, so going out wide, maybe trying to find your striker. I understood why Xerxes came on. I understood that. I've seen people saying to play him as one of the 2 10s. And I just think about his mobility, or the lack of his mobility. And what I would like in the 2 10s is people that are second into the box after the striker, especially when the ball is in like the wing back position. In particular, if you think about that goal, the Marcus Rashford goal, if you look at it, guys, you've got Dalot bursting down the left. You've got Garnacho. Both of them are pointing to the box, telling Ahmad put the ball in. If that was Xerxes playing in that 10 space, he would not be there, because he's not fast. He doesn't have pace. And unfortunately, I feel like in the Premier League, you get kind of chewed up. I feel like you get chewed up in situations like that, where when you don't have pace, it's very difficult to get away with a lot of stuff. I do think it's very, very difficult to get away with a lot of stuff. And I think it kind of stood out for us today. I definitely feel like it stood out for us today, in particular with Joshua Zirkzee. Now, in terms of the lineup, I think that's the best lineup United could have fielded. In terms of training, in terms of how much time AMORIM has had with these players, I think that was the best lineup. That midfield 2 can't play again. I don't think they will. I don't think that midfield 2 of Eriksen and Casemiro, I don't think they will play again. I just think it's convenience today. That's it. Now, for me, it's no criticisms. Like Casemiro, we saw the run of games he had under Ruud van Nistelrooy. We know what we can get with him. I feel like Eriksen is the same. We know what we can get with him. The only midfielder for me, I'm not going to lie, that I think is guarantee is Kobbie Mainoo. Everyone else, you got to earn that. Even with the return, I like the return of Mason Mount. Mason Mount is someone that Ruben Amorim has spoken very highly about in his press conference, how much of a good lad he is and how excited he is to work with him and how good he is, how talented he is. I think Mason Mount, Eriksen, Casemiro, they're all going to be fighting for a spot. Mason Mount maybe more in the 2 10s role, maybe even one of the midfielders. I could see it happening. But today, I'm trying to take everything with a pinch of salt, guys. I don't know if you guys agree, but I'm just trying to take it all with a pinch of salt. Because I don't want to be too reactionary for clearly something that is not something that we need to be too reactionary about, if you guys know what I mean. For me, this guy here, man of the match. Onana, for me, man of the match. Made some big saves, like huge. This save here was ridiculous. This save here in particular was ridiculous. I thought, I literally nearly looked away from his goal. Looked away from the screen, sorry, because I thought it was a goal. And it was a save. And it wasn't just this save. It wasn't just this save. There was quite a few other saves that he made throughout the game, which was very big. AMORIM's system was easily found out by Ipswich. Arsenal worry me a lot. It's teething pains, guys. Don't be worried. Like, and I actually, when I say don't be worried, you know, I think we're gonna have these kind of like dirty games. Like, I feel like with something that is gonna clearly take some time to kind of sieve through all the bullshit, i.e., all the nonsense from the players, you got to give AMORIM time to do that. And if you give AMORIM time to do that, that's why I say it's teething pains. There's going to be moments where it's going to hurt, guys. Like, and I'm not saying Arsenal or City, but like I said, today, a lot of people came into this game and they were saying 3-0, 4-0, 5-1, 2-1, whatever. And I just said, listen, result, I'm not going to be mad about the result if I can identify specific stuff during the game. And I've been able to identify the good and the bad. The bad is, I think when I identify the bad stuff in today's game, it's more individual rather than the system. And the good things today that I noticed was both players, but also the system. The system isn't the problem, it's the personnel. There you go. That I actually agree. I don't think it's the system. We won't know if the system's the problem until I think we get a clear run of games, and I'm talking months and months of games where we can clearly see a pattern. That's the only time that I think that we could say it's the system that's the problem. But after one game, people are saying the manager's the issue and the way that he wants to play. Like I said, Mina, don't worry, your season starts next Sunday. Well, we got Everton next Sunday, man. 3 points in the bag. 3 points in the bag. The part that frustrated me was that Ipswich Town, that is newly promoted side, bullied us. It looked like they've been in the Prem for decades. All right, come on. Let's dissect this comment. Do you guys think United were bullied by Ipswich today? Because I don't think they were. Maybe we watched two different games. I don't think United were bullied. I don't think United were up to, but United dominated possession. Well, now, if you want to go off of things like XG, etc., we can go off of XG, but I don't think that kind of captures the full essence of the game. Ipswich Town are not a bad team, guys. Let's get this clear. Like, I actually think they are a very well-coached team. I think they're a very well-coached team. I think they've got some good talent as well in the team, in some players. I think they've got talent, and they've been able to. I feel like their finishing is not there, but it's not only against Manchester United where they've been able to have spells and passages during the game that doesn't make them look like one of the weaker teams. They got a result against Tottenham last week. They got a result, not last week, but before the international break, innit? You don't know what I'm talking about. They got a result. Obviously, Isaac, we've seen them lose to teams like, Brentford, Everton. But when they lost to Brentford, that was by one. Like, it wasn't again them getting battered. I think Ipswich Town, I feel like you look at the table, and where are they now? They're 18th. They're 18th now. I feel like you look at the table and think, rah, they got 9 points. Wow. They've only won one game. Wow. They've lost 5 games. Wow. They've drawn 6 games. But I don't think that captures the true essence of the kind of team that they are. And again, that's not me making excuses. I hope you lot don't think I'm making excuses. But I don't think Man United were bullied by them today. I do not think Manchester United was bullied. We just lost territory for about 10 minutes. Truth is, I was comfortable. I just wasn't convinced we were going to score enough goals to win the game. I'm not going to lie. Like, I didn't, after this first half, we're going into the second half, guys. At no point in the second half did I think United were going to score. And you know what? There was one thing that I noticed that actually made me think, okay, I can get behind this. I can get behind this. The last 20 seconds or so of the game, guys, I don't know if you don't remember, but the ball was bouncing back and forth between the back line. Mazraoui had it. He went to Ahmad. Ahmad went back to Mazraoui. There's about 2 or 5 seconds left. And AMORIM is right on the touchline next to Mazraoui, shouting at him, telling him, get the ball forward, go forward. Because obviously, if you're in your own half, the ref's going to blow the whistle in it. Whereas if you get closer to the opponent's goal, you might get a couple of extra seconds in it. You might get a couple of extra seconds. But that is, for me, what I noticed. And that is small detail. But that also shows to me, because, like I said, Chelsea game, Ruud van Nistelrooy, I thought he played for the draw. Now, at no point did I feel like Man United were going to score in the second half. But I don't think it's down to the manager setting up the team in a way to play for the draw. I think it was just the personnel that was on the pitch. Like, and the decision making, like, we've just dissected the decision making from, our forwards, from our midfielders, from our wide players. We've kind of dissected the issue that was at hand with their decision making. So at no point did I definitely feel like AMORIM doesn't want us to create, or AMORIM doesn't want us to score. I just felt like it was a personnel decision making. It was the players' decisions that ended up hindering that. If we look at the stats, and like I say, I always say, by the way, that stats should not. We shouldn't go off of stats solely, because stats is just one part of the game, right? It's just one part of the game. Data is just one part of the game. But even the stats don't lie. Manchester United 60% possession, Ipswich 40%. Expected goals 1.7 for Ipswich in comparison to 0.9 for Manchester United. And I think this is where the biggest telling sign comes from, is the fact that they had a lot more shots on target and a lot more big chances created and big chances missed. They had 3 big chances and they missed all 3. United had 2 big chances and missed 1. They both had the same number of shots on goal in terms of 11, but they had more on target. Ipswich had more on target. Now, in terms of accurate passes, Manchester United accurate possession was a lot better. It was a lot better. And one thing, like I said, that I noticed was that Manchester United did not go long as much as they possibly did under the previous manager. Now, if we're looking at touches in the opponent's box, Manchester United had more touches in Ipswich's box than Man United did. However, I think it's not about the touches that you have in the box. I think it's more about what you do with those touches. And obviously, they created a lot more chances. Now, this is the big part for me, guys. This is the big part, right? It's the passing. It's the passing, because United had 644 passes throughout the game. Yeah? With an 87% pass accuracy. And out of that 644, 415 were in their own half. So more than 50% of those passes were in their own half. And I get it. It's slow build up. You're recycling possession just to kind of find that avenue. But that's the thing. I don't feel like Man United felt comfortable breaking down the opponent at any point during the game. Now, if we look ahead quickly, where's it gone, man? Here it is. This is what the next run of games are looking like. Flip it off. Damn. We got Bodo Glimt midweek. Guys, I didn't even realize that European football is back. Like, I was just excited about international break being over, but we are literally, there's football on pretty much every single day until this, like, I don't even know till when. But we got Bodo Glimt on Thursday, and then Everton on Sunday, and then the big one, Arsenal next week at the Emirates. The Emirates is like, this is like, we haven't beaten them under Eric Ten Hag at the Emirates. We didn't beat them at all at the Emirates. I think we beat them at Old Trafford. If AMORIM can get a result at Arsenal, boy, I don't know, man. I don't want to talk too reckless. But if he can get a result, especially because, I'm seeing, obviously, with the Man City stuff happening, Liverpool are on this winning streak. Arsenal are talking about closing the gap on Liverpool. I don't know, man. If we could just disrupt everybody in the title race, it'll make me feel a bit better about our season. But Arsenal at the Emirates, Forest at home, Victoria Pleasant away, and then City away. So that's 3 games at home and 3 games away from home, which is, I think, a fair number of games. I think these 6 games is a good balance, because you got I don't want to be disrespectful and be like the lowest sided teams, but the teams like Everton and that is the kind of games, especially like today as well, Ipswich. But I'm giving AMORIM the benefit of the doubt because it was his first game. But a game like Everton is, for me, a game where we should be able to go into and identify patterns of play and style from AMORIM. You know, we could talk about the personnel and, you know, the individual decisions from the players, but we should be able to like identify the manager's fingerprints on the team. And that kind of gives you opportunity to build confidence going into a game like Arsenal. Same as, you know, Forest is not going to be the most easiest game. I just saw Arsenal, didn't they beat Forest this weekend? But also Victoria Pleasant, that's a game that, again, build confidence to go into that game against City. Why'd they put Amarin's head on Ten Hag's body in that graphic? You know what's so funny? I was trying to figure it out. I thought it was Ruud van Nistelrooy's body. I was trying to figure out who. And this is Big Sky, by the way, guys. This is Big Sky. They need to stop paying their graphic designer if this is what they're doing. Knowing our luck, we'll be the team that breaks City's losing streak. They'll probably win by then. We're not playing City for like another 3 weeks. By the way, guys, look at this scheduling. We're playing a game every 3 or 4 days. We're playing a game pretty much every 3 or 4 days. But that for me, looking at this kind of fixture list, I'm just thinking, okay, United have a run of games where A, they can gain confidence, and B, they need to gain momentum, and C, they need to go toe-to-toe with the Cities and the Arsenals. We'll lose to City and Arsenal. Wasn't it Ten Hag that beat Liverpool in his like 5th game? Like I swear it was like the 5th game or 4th game of the season at Old Trafford. Of course, that's at Old Trafford, so that's a big part as well. But I like, this is funny, guys. I don't want to say the term aura, but the vibe that I get from AMORIM is a different kind of vibe. Like I hate the term aura because everybody uses it, but the vibe that I get from Ruben AMORIM is he didn't celebrate Rashford's goal. I don't know if you guys noticed. He did not celebrate Rashford's goal. There was times like he was on the touchline a lot throughout the game. He was sitting on, like he was squatting on the touchline throughout parts of the game. And when I realized that he didn't celebrate Rashford's goal, I was like, okay, he's clearly the goal is I felt like the goal was from a AMORIM textbook in terms of how the goal was created, and some of it was Ahmad's brilliance in terms of being able to burst on that right hand side. But I think Ruben AMORIM knows he's got a big task at hand, not just with this team, but let me just bring it up quickly because I saw him criticize him. Not criticize him, but just like firing shots at the media, basically. Let me just find it quickly. Oh, where is it? He basically said, I can't find it, but he basically said since he's come here, he's talked more than he did in 4 years at Sporting, i.e. he said he's basically saying I'm doing more media stuff. He's basically saying how big the league is, and he obviously knew how big the league is and how big the Premier League is, and being Manchester United's manager, but he's basically saying I just want to do my job, but I'm here talking all the time, i.e. he's probably done a shitload of interviews since he's joined Manchester United. Excited for what's to come, but a lot will be different. Listen, I just know the best way for me to describe it, teething pains. Like if you don't know teething pains or like growing pains, it's painful, but it's for the better. It's for the better. And I might be delusionally optimistic. I might be delusionally optimistic, but just be patient. Just be patient, because I think as time goes on, and maybe we'll revisit this like in January when United have played a good 8-9 games under Ruben AMORIM, and we'll probably be like, you know what, in 9-10 games we can identify specific patterns, we can identify a style of football. Maybe we're not getting the results and we're not getting all these goals, but we might be able to notice that, and then we can have a proper conversation about it. I just don't know how people look at one game, 90 minutes, and throw all their toys out of the pram. Like I don't know how people do it. AMORIM just needs to stick to his football. Not going to be pretty, so we'll require a lot of patience. There you go. I feel like, do you think you can get behind this more if AMORIM sticks to his guns? Like because like with Ange Postecoglou, like obviously you see their style of football, especially like I said, what they did to City on the weekend was absolute humiliation, right? But one thing that I noticed a lot is that even when they lose, Ange Postecoglou sticks to his guns. And I've seen, Spurs fans, sometimes they're like, Ange out, Ange in, Ange out, Ange in. But because it's just like a bit inconsistent, it's flippy flappy. But Ange Postecoglou always sticks to his guns in terms of the way he plays. He will defend the way he plays. And if it doesn't get him the result, he will back himself. And that's what I want Ruben AMORIM to do, because like I said, it's going to be painful. There's going to be some difficult games, guys. There's going to be some difficult games. And people are going to be they're going to look back on Erik Ten Hag and be like, oh, see, we should never have got rid of Ten Hag. Calm down, guys. Calm down. Delap is way better than 108 million pair. Delap, by the way, yeah, I've watched him a bit throughout the season, yeah? And I'm just, for a guy who's 21, his physicality, I think, is what impresses me the most, guys. Like, I think that's probably the thing that impresses me the most, is how physical he is. And also, in terms of his height and his stature, he's very quick with his feet. And like I said, that's another thing that impresses me. He was just playing, obviously, Championship with Ipswich last season. And I saw today on Sky, they were saying that this time last season, for Ipswich, he had 6 goals in the Championship, and he's already got 6 goals in the Premier League, which people always say the jump from Championship to Premier League is not the easiest, but he's managed to continue at that level. Rashford in the 9 still works for me. That is the maddest name, that Sierra twins. That is hilarious. That is a funny name. That is a funny name. Delap is built like a 16-year-old Wayne Rooney. Now, Wayne Rooney was a bit shorter, right? But obviously, I think, yeah, he's a bit shorter. But Delap is just tall, and he gives me proper centre forward vibes. That's it. The Delap just gives me centre forward vibes. Like in a league, or in a time where I feel like young centre forwards are not really popping up on the scene in English football in particular. Delap he's there. He's there. Big up to Benji with the super chat. Says Gar shouldn't have that song. He's not R7. Rash out poor. I think that's in reference to Garnacho's song that the fan base have. I can't even remember how it goes. That the fan base have for him. I don't know, man. Do you guys think that the criticism today for the players are warranted? Do you guys feel like the criticism is warranted in comparison to? Because I get it. Some of the mistakes that I noticed today, some of the moments that I noticed today came from individual decisions or the lack of decision making. And I feel like Ruben Amorim saying after the game that some of the players, when their teammate has the ball, they don't know where to go. They don't know what they're meant to do. And I always think, is it the football too complicated, or are the players just dumb? But you can't be a professional footballer, in my opinion, at this high level and be dumb. I don't believe that. I genuinely don't believe that. You had to get to this level with some level of football IQ. Yeah, with some level of football IQ. So I'm not buying the idea completely that the players are just dumb. But equally, I think it can't be the system. So do you guys get what I'm saying? One of them has to bite, basically. I swear, even Amorim is done with Rashford. Lack of trying to press, just watching players gliding past him. I don't know if you guys saw, but Bruno Fernandes was shouting at Højlund to go and press. And Garnacho's just standing there like, who, me? He's like, me? And then he's telling Højlund, go, go, go. By that time, the keeper already played the ball out. Saeed almost lost his house. What? Over here in America, we don't have power on and off switch when plugging stuff to the wall. Our team feels like that. 10 minutes of good football followed by 80 plus of dull. What do you mean you don't have power on and off switches when plugging stuff into the wall? So how do you turn it on? Is it just on all the time? Hold on. So if I got a plug here in the wall, yeah, and I plug something in, are you telling me in America you don't have a switch that turns it on and off? It's always on. Is that not dangerous? If it's always on? They just plug it in. So what? Like your cooker's just always on. Like your toaster's just always on. So you're telling me if I got a sandwich maker in the kitchen, which I do have a sandwich maker, I turn my sandwich maker off from the plug. I don't take it out. But if I lived in America, I'd have to take it out of the plug. Then the plug is just gonna be lying around. What if, guys? That is, oh my god, it's always on. Is your electricity bill not high? Like, is your electricity bill not high if it's always on? That's damn. Only in the bathroom you have that switch. Toaster has to be popped down. Yo, this is news to me. This is how you know I've never been to America, by the way, guys. This is how you know I've never been to the USA, because I did not know this. I just thought everybody was like the UK, where you just have the plug on, plug off. Would you rather stamp on a plug or a Lego? Lego, 100%. I would never want to stamp. Standing on a plug is nearly as painful as stubbing your toe on the corner of like something. Like, stepping on a plug is the worst. Like, it's honestly, I don't know what's worse, hitting your toe on the corner of something. Nah, I think standing on a plug. Yeah. Americans in our hotel always don't know how to work the switch. This is, honestly, guys, I think I learned something new today. I really think I learned something new today. How much would we get for Garnacho in the summer, Mina? Well, I don't know if he's going to be on the market. I don't know if Man United is going to sell him. But I think what would if Man United were to sell Garnacho, I think they have to look for 60 at the least. Like, and people might think I'm mad to say that, but I think it's the talent that he has. I would say 60 at the least, but I don't see United selling him. Like, unless United are really strapped for cash and they are in dire need. I think it might get to a situation where they might be like, you know what? We have to sell someone in that front line. Who are we going to get the most money for? They're going to look at the academy players. They're going to look at the academy players. They're going to look at the Rashfords and the Garnachos and think, you know what? You know what my worst fear is, guys? Amad Diallo leaving in the summer. That's what I'm scared of. He still hasn't signed a new contract yet. I think he's got an option to extend. I think the club can pick up 1 year option. But for me, that's just another year of uncertainty. Get him locked down to a contract now. And I like the fact that AMORIM had some praise for Amad. He had some praise for Amad after the game, especially praise for his defensive actions in particular. Because he said he's been working on it a lot. But I do think that Man United will look at that front line and think someone needs to go. And who's going to bring in the most money for Man United? I think that's where the biggest question mark is. Anthony, I saw him warming up, on the line today. I don't know. We never saw him. Could that be a sign? If he leaves us, he's going to a worse team, and teams in the bottom half would rather scout than buy a player like Nacho. Yeah, I don't see a team, not gonna lie, guys. I don't see a team going out and spending I don't see a lower half mid-table team in Europe going out and spending 60, 70 million on a player from Man United. Man United were the ones that went to Atlanta and brought flipping Højlund for 72 million. The more players we sell, the better, I feel. Even if they sell Amad, I trust it because they replace someone with better. I will lose it. I will lose it if they sell Amad. I'm not joking, guys. If Man United sold Amad, I'm not trusting the process. I am not trusting the process at all. And I mean that in a very respectful way. I mean that in the most respectful way. Should we do player ratings quickly? Nah, I can't be asked. I hate doing player ratings. Rashford got a 7.3 on FootMob. That's crazy. How did he get a 7.3? But to be honest, someone did say to me that FootMob is voted for by players. By fans, sorry. People vote by fans. Another man of the match. Yeah, I think that's easy. I think man of the match is comfortable. I would say Mazraoui as well. I would say maybe Mazraoui as well, but I would say Onana because of all the saves. For me, like Onana kept United in the game consistently. Like, it could have been worse. Was Bruno all right? You know what, guys? I have nothing to say about Bruno today. Like, is that bad? I do not have much to say. He didn't bother me much. He didn't bother. I don't think he played bad. Look at this. He won 5 duels and he lost 5 duels. So 50-50 in his duels. I don't know. Did anything Bruno do stick out to you guys? He didn't stand out to me. And sometimes I think that's better for Bruno for me. Because when you stick out, when Bruno sticks out, is just sometimes it's good, sometimes shit. So when he doesn't stick out to me, I'm just like, okay, that's good. You just went under the radar. That's fine. That's all right. I'm not mad about that. Bruno was fighting against his nature. Bruno had a good game, created 3 good chances. Yeah, I just think he was okay. Like, for me, there was nothing that was wow that kind of stood out for me. For me, by the way, guys, Hutchinson, what a player. I spoke about Delap a lot, but Hutchinson, what a player. I don't know how Chelsea let him go, by the way. I don't know. I guess Chelsea got too many players. That's why they had to let him go. But he was talent. He's a serious talent. And in those tight spaces and in the inside spaces that Ipswich had a lot of on Man United's left-hand side, he was having a field day, man. He was having a field day. But I think if Onana didn't get man of the match, I think he might have. I think if Onana didn't get... The crazy thing is, Hutchinson had better chances against Liverpool beginning of the season, but bagged against us. But that was a fluke. Let's be honest. I think Onana had that I think Anand had that. It's just the header that took it away from him. And it's a great strike. But also for me, it's the manner. It's the way that he took the ball. Like, he back to goal, he turns from Casemiro, takes a touch, hits it. He doesn't need too much time to look at the goal, look at his options, etc. He knows what he's doing from the second the ball comes to his feet, which just shows you how good of a technical player sometimes footballers can be, because it just means you don't need too much time on the ball to make your decision. You get the ball in to your feet, you know what you're doing immediately. You know what you're gonna do. But big up to everyone listening, guys. Be sure to hit the like button if you've just come through. We are 2 likes away from 100. 2 likes away from 100. So I'm gonna wait until it gets to 100 likes before I wrap the stream up. I hope you lot like the new setup. The new setup is coming along pretty well. Let me know, by the way. I put it up on my story, on my Instagram story. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, go follow me on all socials here. I put it up and I said, what should I add here? Because there's stuff there, but it looks a bit, I think it looks a bit naked. Somebody said to me I should get like a replica trophy. So I might get a replica of, like, a small replica of, like, the Champions League and the Premier League, like everything United won under Sir Alex Ferguson. I might go and grab that. But if you got any suggestions of what I should put there, then please let me know, because I'm kind of running out of ideas. Get a Ten Hag poster. No, thank you. We need a United jersey framed. I do, but I want to get a signed one, because all the shirts I have here are signed. The thing here that I don't know if you lot can see it properly, but just above it says Van der Sar. This is a picture, an art of Van der Sar's save of Anelka, the penalty save in 2008, and then it just says here. What does that say? It says what the commentator said about is red in Russia when Manchester United won in Moscow. Don't put your own FIFA cards there. You can see my FIFA cards on the top. You can't see it, but my FIFA card's on the top. I do need to get rid of these FIFA cards here, though, because that's from last year's FIFAs. But make sure you guys check out my new video. The link is in the chat right now. 5 in 5, what we learned from the Ipswich game. Make sure you hit the like button on that video as well. You don't know, it helps with the algorithm so much. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to everyone that sent in super chats. Big up to the moderators for pushing the likes. I'll be back tomorrow, inshallah, God willing. Daily dose of Mina, 4:30 before we do the Straight Jacket podcast. I hope to catch a lot of you lot there. And if I don't, then I don't, innit? Have a great night, guys. Don't overreact, guys. AMORIM ball is here, but be patient. Be patient. I'm out, guys. Peace.